Hello, and welcome to the live reality game podcast. My name is Steven Stewart, and I'm thrilled today to be here for more Surviving Reelfoot postseason coverage of First Fire. And join us today to talk all about this game. We have Jay West. Jay West, how are you doing?
I'm well, man. Thank you so much, Steve, for having me. And yeah, I'm here.
How has the post Reelfoot life been so far?
The post real life experience for me has been, crazy because I've been in an outcast camp for a while, so I had an opportunity to get connected with the cast, decompress. Everyone showing their true self because it's only one that's going to get back in, or possibility of two, or whatever. But after that, being in the house for X amount of days until the game ended, we all got closer. So for real, I just been free again. I played these games. I've been in the community a little bit, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, I was very excited to see you in the cast. I was like, wait, I recognize them. And I was like, oh, wait, like you've played both Sequester season 3 and season 4. So I feel like it's been a hot minute since I've watched them. Like, I feel like I've seen you there. So it's very excited to see you come play Reelfoot. So I guess what led to the decision to apply for Reelfoot?
All right, thank you for asking me. Great question. Yeah, so I played, Sequester 3 and 4. I'm always going to be thankful for Sequester. Because of that, I'm just somebody who loved the reality TV world, this experience. So I'm from South Jersey, and being from South Jersey, that's right outside of Philly, and I gotten close with Melanie. That's what everyone's been calling her. That's the homie. So I played the game with her, so I'm used to these one day LRGs. I've hopped in the
Survivor
LRG
Philly.
community. Yeah, I hopped in the LRG community maybe back in 2022. My buddy Johnny, he hosts these competitive event games, and I played 3 times, and I ended up playing with Mel. So I got close with Mel. She's right from Philly. We used to always meet up at watch parties. And she ended up telling me, like, hey, I work production for this game called Reelfoot. And I'm a huge Survivor fan. As you know, like, I played Sequester season 3. My friend Tori ended up making it to season 42. And, I was like super hype about that. And I'm like, yo, I've always wanted to play Survivor. I got casted for Sequester by putting my audition tapes on YouTube. So I didn't even know about you. My messed up internet experience. Like, I went into Reelfoot posting the wrong game. So I'm just all over the place, and I'm thankful to just get the opportunity to play another Survivor style game, and it was real. Like, it felt realistic. I never played I never played the Survivor game longer than a day. I'm a very, I like to call myself a very strategic player. A lot of people don't see that. They always see the entertainment and the chaos part, and I'm down to show that as well. But yeah, Survivor is just a different beast, and I wanted to play Reelfoot because they said it was the closest thing to Survivor, and it's days that lead up to, I don't. It's just days that you play it in the woods, and I never even went camping before, so I'm looking at it like I just gotta test myself to see if I really want to play Survivor and see if this is really what I want. And I think I do. I think I got what it takes. I was in a good spot in the game. I played, in my opinion, a good game. I just was thinking too much because I'm like, yo, this shit is boring. Like, I like not boring. I'm so impatient, and I'm impulsive as well. And I even said that coming into the game when they asked us like a question like, if you could be first boot, what could it? And I even said either my name, because when I hopped in this LRG community, a lot of people know me, or they act like they don't know me, but then they bring it up to me because I played with Teeny before he got on Survivor as well, and I've rubbed shoulders with a lot of players, and then they act like they don't know me. Hello, they act like they don't know me, and then they play with me in a game, and they're like, "Yo, you're a lot different than I, witnessed or seen," and I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm just being me. I'm thankful to get this opportunity." And then I start being wild, start being like, a little burnt out because I get comfortable with the players really quick. And like I said, in the LRG communities that I played, the games that I played, that's just been one days. And I've had debates with players in Reelfoot, what I like, the one day and the longer day experience. And I might even ask you that later on in the pod, but that's just me. I enjoyed it though. I'm so thankful, and yeah.
A castmate of yours, Jessica, saying your strategy was just a little too chaotic for that starting drive.
Yeah, that's fine.
And so let's talk about it. So you played Sequester, which is multi-day, but you're inside for it. You've played one-day Survivor games, and you apply the Reelfoot, you get cast. How do you prepare for Reelfoot? What are you doing to prepare yourself physically or mentally for the game?
Uh, so to prepare myself for Reelfoot, honestly, I just bought a Flint, and that's all I really wanted to learn because I try to do a little recon on the game before any game, before I get asked to play, or if I ever take the opportunity to play, I want to do my little homework. And I seen that they actually make fire and they actually living in the woods. I'm pretty down to earth. I'll do anything that anybody else would do, and I'll try my perspective going. I mean, my strategy into the game, I even told production, was to not complain first. Like if I'm hungry, I ain't gonna say I'm hungry first. If I'm seeing a whole lot of bugs and complaining about that, I'm not gonna complain about it first. So that was a strategy of mine, and I was tripping off of that shit, like because I'm a city boy. But yeah, I just got a Flint, practice that. I'm very social, down to earth. I can connect with anybody. I even strategically went into the game wearing a Star Wars shirt, and that helped. A lot of people connected with me just conversing about Star Wars, and I did that strategically. I'm like, look, I want to be the guy that people know that, oh, Jay West, you like Star Wars? And yeah, I love Star Wars. So we can just talk about that, and it's not even game. So yeah.
And so I guess we'll talk about it because one of the things about Reelfoot is like there are no vote outs really until kind of that third day. You have like at least 36 hours, give or take, challenge wins before like the game really starts heating up. And so like knowing that you like things being a little bit more chaotic, were you worried about that? Or is like, hey, I can deal with it. I'm not worried about the kind of that slow opening to the game.
So I didn't do all of my homework. I didn't know that part. Like that part messed me up. So going into Reelfoot, finding that out that we wasn't going to have an immunity challenge until the third day, I was like gobsmacked. I'm like, what? Because I'm like, if you know me, like deep down inside, I'm super empathetic. I love people. Like that's why I hopped into this community. I wanted to meet people that, love these games just as much as me. And I'm from like a small town. No one watches reality TV except if you're my friend and you're going to support me. But yeah, so it's like cool to converse with people and have strategic conversations. And if you can ever get to the end, you can plead your case on seeing who game is better. It doesn't matter if you think your game is better than mine. It's all about if I'm sitting next to the end and if my word trumps yours. But that's how I see the game. And I was just surprised that it was the 3-day first tribal council thing. I'm like, God, I love these people. Like, you know what I'm saying? I like I'm a super team player. I played sports my whole life, so even if you watch back a little bit of the clips of the challenges, I made sure to always uplift my challenges, my tribe mate. When we lost, I wanted to be the first one to like encourage them. Like it's okay. I was telling everyone on my tribe like these are gym class games. Like we're doing like challenges from gym from high school. Like come on, don't trip over it. I was just trying to be the vibe guy. You know what I'm saying? To let people know that we're all gonna go. Like even the winner's gonna go. Like we gotta enjoy this. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a time none of us are going to get up in this one big circle again. So we gotta be thankful for this moment. And I was the one that they was like, you know what, Jay West, fuck out of here. Excuse my profanity.
So you arrive in Tennessee, and your first place into tribes. I know you're in the kind of a holding area for a bit. But who was in the room with you actually in the holding area? Do you remember?
Yeah, so it's funny. So I drive up to Tennessee with Allison and Kobe, and that's a 3-hour ride. Yeah, yo, Lydia, what's up? Yeah, so
Lydia's saying that you win the Best Fives award, by the way.
I'm wearing my snake buff. It's Cobra Kai, but it's a snake. But yeah, thank you. It was a 3-hour ride going up to the game from Nashville, and I went up there with Kobe and Allison, not knowing that. Well, not knowing Allison, I know in this LRG community, it's all about connections. That's what they don't tell you when you play this. Someone's going to know somebody. Even you said it, watching you play with Kobe and you've played with, Nina. So it's like me, I wouldn't know that at all. So because I'm just somebody that go into things being thankful. So I met Kobe at a watch party. We've compare notes, not like notes. We like, yo, shit. Like, if we clearly just want to look out for each other. We never said it was gonna be an alliance, but it was just like a vibe thing off jump. And I love Kobe to death now. But anyway, Allison, she was in the car, and I never seen her a day in my life, but she was the biggest fish in the game. Like I was like, God damn, my girl, like I'm giving you my plans. But anyway, going into Reelfoot, being in sequester with Nina and Rob, that is when I messed up doing the post, because I'm like, at this point, we got to be quiet for another 3 hours. I'm looking at this big ox guy, super attractive dude. Nina, she's reading a book. She got the hard eyes. I was calling her hard eyes because her glasses was hearts. So I'm giving them both nicknames in my head. And we all like, vibing out, like, like just giving each other head nods. And I'm pretty like, I smile a lot. So I think that's pretty like contagious, and they was smiling back. So yeah, we was all hitting it off. And that, like I said, I was starting to do my recon on my phone, looking up other games. And when they took our phones, the last game I was looking up was a Survivor Challenge. So I'm like, I was already looking them up. That's literally what I was doing. So it was an honest, stupid mistake of me, but that's the game. That's West.
And so you get placed on the Orange Tribe, the Inada Tribe. What was your thoughts, your initial impressions looking at the people you're on the tribe with?
Again, I was a little happy. First, I was pissed because I wasn't with the two people I was sequestered with when they told us that we had to put on our colors. And I'm like, damn, like they got on purple. And we was with each other for all these times, and they like gave each other handshakes, and they're like, good luck. And I'm like, oh, well, at least I seen the guy Kobe, and I seen Allison, and we all can play like stupid again. Like, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. We all playing that game. And I felt like our tribes were pretty even. Like I said, it was 9 versus 9. But our tribe, in my opinion, from my perspective, we were the stronger tribe because we had like I don't want to do gender thing, but we had the like 9. I mean, we had 5 guys, and we had the 4 girls. But the guys that they had, in my opinion, they were like older, and they were like they just, from my perspective, it looked like they was banking a whole lot for Rob to like carry the weight, and the strategic. They were like a unit over there, and they knew who to cut, and they were so predictable to us. But for me, I'm looking at our tribe like, look, we're messy, but we're strong. All we got to do is just have a good vibe, and I clocked that early. So that's why I'm like, we got to come together. We're gonna lose, we're gonna win, we're gonna still have fun. Even when we win rewards, I'm like making sure we take pops of sugar, like, just for all of us to stay hyped. It was just a fun time for me, but I was happy to be with my tribe.
You mentioned that you had met Kobe at a watch party before. Was there anyone else in the game you knew or had recognized coming in?
Yeah, so I seen Sam when she went to go do her confessionals in the very beginning, like not when she was getting put on her purple. When she was putting on her purple, I'm like, so I like, again, like I said, playing these games now in the LRG community is always about connections. You can play stupid if you want, coming in here acting like you don't know anybody, but someone's gonna know somebody. And I know Sam. We both from New Jersey. Her very first game was my very last LRG game, and I voted her out. But we've met plenty of times after that. Now Sam, she's deep in the LRG world. I thought for a fact she wanted to go take a shot at me, but I was watching their tribe like a hawk, and it looked like she was on the outs. They was doing like some meditation prayer thing, and she was the only one speaking, like, and I'm like, what the hell, Sam, get in that circle with them or whatever. And and every time we would all walk to a challenge, she was hello, I'm Sam, and I'm like, oh good, we're playing this game, good. But me and Sam, like I said, we're cool, we're both from New Jersey, that's my girl. So I was happy to see someone that I can like at least be free with.
How active were you looking to try to identify other relationships players had outside the game and say, oh, those two clearly know each other, are working together because of that? Or was that something that was on your mind while playing?
It's on my mind, but I never think about it. Like, I mean, if I'm being honest, I just don't want it to be like a thing. Like if I'm playing with a person and they know 3 people, I don't want to be the 4th alliance member, because
Yeah.
clearly I'm going to get cut. You know what I'm saying? Over their 2 other friends. So I would try to use players to cut off their, arms, and I'm still playing close to you. You know what I'm saying? So that was
Mhm.
that's a strategy that I always try to bring into a game. But again, if you don't know these people, it's hard. to do that, and I think that kind of like hindered my game a little bit, and from my perspective. And I know I did talk a lot, but yeah, that's just we'll get into that.
So you have a long opening marooning challenge. How did that go for you?
In my opinion, I think we did pretty well. We had to run. I'm a pretty athletic dude. Again, like I said, I played sports my whole life. I'm down with helping out my team. I was running in the back with Deb, uplifting her. I even told our tribe, if you're tired, let's just skip. Let's just hop, And I think that's better than walking, right? So they thought about that, and we was like even skipping a little bit. I'm like, yes, we're always in the front. We're having fun. And I didn't eat no fucking mayonnaise. Excuse my profanity. Again, I was drinking water. I was there like, why y'all give us pops of hot sauce or something like that? I would have took that. But even when we had to throw the bags on the pole, I was the first one to do it because, again, I'm very competitive, and I hit it off the first try. I told everyone the strategy that I did. I said, crotch down, get eye level. You can't do it high up. And when it was my turn, I did it the first time, and we was in the lead. And so we was in the lead for a while. When we got to the puzzles, I'm like joking around because at that point, I'm like trying to clock everybody to see who's going to do what. Is the skipping strategy. Yeah. Yeah. So that was basically things I was just trying to implement, just try to have us all stay in the lead, have fun, but we were in the lead, and I was still keeping an eye out my tribe. I was looking at my tribe, like who's the one that was willing to speak up the most, who's the one that was willing to do the puzzles. That was at that point, like I was just clocking our tribe from that point.
So after that reward challenge, you get to your camp and you have time to kind of set up camp and get to know players. How were those opening hours of the game for you? What were you up to?
So going back to camp was my first time in the woods. I was like happy but surprised. I'm looking at it. We got the crappier camp than the other camp, so I was like, I wonder what their camp looked like, and I ended up seeing it once, like when the game was over. But our camp wasn't that bad because thankfully we had Chad. I keep calling him. Yeah, we had Chad, and he was very like he took the lead to being a leader, and I was thankful for that. And like again, me playing sports my whole life, working a lot of hard labor jobs in the past, I know just to shut up and do what the people want, and he wasn't like demanding. He would just do, and I would follow. And people would talk. He just started to like collect a whole bunch of trees and powerwood because they go pretty fast. So we stacked that up, and we had like a well-oiled machine. We were all good. It was fun. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. That first little hour, we all got close. We spoke about where we were from. We were all from different places. So again, hearing people from Boston, Maryland, Virginia, I'm thinking like, yes, no one know each other. But again, Jay West, you're wrong.
There are kind of two opening twists that you learn over those hours. The first is there's a cryptex you find at your camp. Talk to me about that.
So yeah, the cryptex. Okay. When we came to the camp, obviously I didn't mention that part. The first person that seen the cryptex was Kobe. Young Kobe. And in this game of Survivor, and we all know this, it's easy to vote out anybody based off of just sneezing or snoring.
Mm-hmm.
But so
Yep.
the first thing you see is a cryptex. I seen it. We all seen it. It was right in the fire pit. It wasn't even trying to be like, it wasn't hidden. So Kobe grabbed it. He was so persistent. He kept asking everyone, can he play with it? I never touched it. I gave out, I was like, oh, 6 letters, put Jordan. Like, that's my real name. I was like, just saying 6-letter words. Like, I was joking now because I know whoever had it was going to put the target on their back, or 2, they were going to open it and expose it to the whole tribe. So I just wanted to be around it. But it did kind of cause a little bit of paranoia because that first night I did go to sleep. Well, like obviously we all go to sleep, but it was when I woke up in the middle of the night and you wake up and you see a group of like different players just playing with the cryptex and they're being secretive. Well, you're in your own mind, you think they're being secretive, but maybe they were just being quiet because we were being sleepy. So I don't know. I just wake up and give up a little bit of information that I know or people include me in, and I tell Chad because in my opinion, he was running the tribe, and I'm like, yo, someone told me they got an advantage to the clue and they did. It was Ali. She told me that after the second challenge, because again, I felt like I was pretty tapped in with everybody. She said that she wanted to work with me. Do I have people? I said, I got some people. And she said, all right, well, I got a clue to the cryptex, and it was probably bullshit, but by her telling me that, I'm like, boom, I got something on her. You know what I'm saying? So in the middle of the night, I wake up, I see Kobe, who's playing with the cryptex with Allison. Juan, he was attending a fire, and Chad, he was just sitting there in his chair after doing all the work. So I walked into Chad, I'm like, yo, Chad, because I wanted to be in the loop. You know, I'm like, yo, they fucking with this cryptex, they must have been strategizing. So I'm like, yo, Ali said she got a clue to it, so maybe in the morning, we can let her play with it, So that was it, in my opinion. But really, it did cause a little bit of divide. But that's the game. It was fun.
Yeah, it seems like Kobe really wanted the cryptex to be his and to open it, and that caused some friction.
Yeah, it did. It really did. Fast forward, I don't want to spoil too much, but when Kobe ended up coming to the Outcast camp, he saved us, and I was even mad at him again. I'm like, bro, like, it was time for our tribe to do puzzles. Like, where was you at? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you love this shit, how come you don't hop on a puzzle? And you know what he says? Because I think by me being the youngest physical guy, your guys are gonna need us, bro. We got more guys than them. We got one more guy than them, and all our guys were like, it's me, Juan, Chad. We got 4 capable dudes right now. Like, we don't need you. Go get on a puzzle. I was calling him Kobe the calculator from there on out. I'm like, you're good at this shit. So I don't know. I love Kobe to death. It was just frustrating because he, like, again, it painted a target on his back, and by getting close with players in the game like Survivor, not going to your individual immunity until the 3rd day, it was hard to pick a target. And in my opinion, losing Kobe the first vote was dumb because, one, he's a number for me. Not no one else knew that, but he was a number for me. And 2, I got pulled into this big old alliance, and I was thankful about it. But by being in that alliance, I'm hearing the names that they're throwing out. They're throwing out Deb. They're throwing out Kobe. And I'm like, do you see who's over there? They got this dude, Rob. We had a swimming challenge against them the first day. I don't know why. No one really mentioned it, but we were all scared of Rob, basically because it was a swimming challenge. We had to go swim and collect puzzles. And if you swim, you can collect how many puzzles did you want. Yeah. He brought them all back. He didn't bring 1 or 2. He brought them all back and swam with no arms. So we looked like, what? Like, he basically, and after that, we had people going back and forth, and they kept knocking our puzzles down. So we never had an opportunity to, and by him swimming once, they were able to beat it so fast. Be like, you know what? We're just gonna go play in the water at this point. We're just gonna go swimming because, like, now we know who the big target is. So that's why I'm like, losing Kobe the first round would be dumb because, like, they have this big guy over there who's capable, who's persistent, who's hungry. I didn't know him, but I knew that he wanted it. And at this point, I'm like, yo, we have to stay strong so we can stay away from tribal. And it wasn't, like I kept saying it to everyone, it wasn't a real first boot. I kept saying it to everybody. It's not a real first boot because, one, they have this redemption thing, and we did 5 challenges. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we did 5 challenges at this point. Like, and again, that's my mindset from these one-day games. But go ahead.
So another opening twist is you also all receive 1/3 of an idol, right? And 3 people bring it together. It's a full idol. It's good till final 8. And so, what did you think about that twist? And how were you trying to utilize it, or like are you trying to say, hey, I'm just going to save this for when I need it later on?
So early in the game, I thought about that twist, and I knew for a fact. Well, not knew for a fact, but I thought in my head the way that I play, I'm either one going to be a target or I'm going to be a shield for somebody. So this is just going to be leverage to save me. And I pitched it to Juan early on, but it was just because me and him was like having a little tiff that one night, and he said that he wanted to get a bead from someone, and I kind of blew up his plans because I'm like no, not no, but I didn't want anyone else to have a extra bead. That's how I was looking at it. And I told him, I said, after the first tribal, if you're really that mad, I'll give you my bead. But I wasn't giving him my bead because I told Andrew that, like, in my opinion, Andrew was my diary. It was his first game. He was so quiet. He sucked at, like, opening up to people, like, not suck, but he just didn't do a well job, like, at it. And so I'm like, look, I'm gonna tell him everything, and like I gotta decompress to somebody. So I'm telling Andrew a bunch of shit, and I felt like that was my comfort blanket out there, and he wasn't in my alliance. So
So you mentioned earlier that you get brought into a larger alliance. Can you talk through the evolution of that alliance and how you got brought in?
okay, so this is after the individual. Well, during the first individual immunity
Okay.
challenge, I
So
was
this is if this is post first individual challenge, let's wait then because I think there's a lot that we can talk to before then.
okay.
Um, so during that first day, you also have that mixer challenge that your tribe wins, right? How did
Yes,
that challenge go for you?
that's when we did the when we
Oh,
was
finish that
throwing
thing.
or with the blocks.
This is the one where I think you have a box of stuff. You ask if someone has what you have.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. So that was again, Chad spoke up a lot to us. He was giving us ideas and strategy. He told us like, look, I think a good strategy for all of us was to not go after our own tribe first. Always go after the other tribe. And then I'm like, look, I always made jokes. I'm like, save the West for last. I'm gonna go at the end of the circle, and I'm gonna let everyone else expose their color first. So I'm gonna go after whatever I hear from there. So and then clearly people plans go out the window. You start hearing people like if you and I were on the same tribe, and I hear you say fucking blue, I'm like, oh, bet I'm gonna take your blue. So I'm like, damn, everyone's going after their own. But again, watching back, I got mine right the first time, and I knew like, and it's because like I was in the last spot. I asked someone, I forget who I asked, but I got it right the first time, and I was just, I think in my opinion, I was a big asset to the tribe. So that was a good communication tribe thing for us because we end up winning, and that helped us get like 1-1.
and so that evening, how are you feeling so far?
We felt good because in our head that first challenge they won by luck. Because that's how I was pitching it to our tribe. I like, look, they didn't know each other, we didn't know each other, and they won like this, and they came back. And the only reason they came back and beat us was because we had everyone on a puzzle except me. I was watching everybody do the puzzle. But if you have so many people doing the puzzle, clearly you're going to
Yeah.
mess up. And their tribe literally have 4 people on the puzzle out of 9. It's easier to work with. We have 8 people doing the puzzle. So I'm like, yo, we're not going to get this completed. And that's how they end up taking the lead and beating us. So, in my opinion, I'm like, they're not better than us. They beat us by luck that first challenge. Let's just enjoy camp. And then when we end up beating them coming back to the challenge, it was just clarity to us that we're the stronger tribe. And in that moment, I was like, look, we're tied 1-1. But it was something so stupid. Like we were sitting in a circle picking blocks. But in my opinion, like we got the edge on them now. We can communicate. We can joke. I was the person that do rock paper scissors shoe against the other tribe actually, and I did it against Isaiah on who's going to go first, and he was pissed because again they don't know my personality, my sarcasm, and my tribe already jiving with me. So I'm like age before beauty, like I because he's a lot younger than me, and he was like. He just blew it out of proportion. I heard he was whispering that about his tribe and a whole lot of different things. I'm like, but yeah, that's just me. I joke around a lot. I'm like, yo, maybe I should stop doing that. But yeah, I was the person that do rock paper scissors shoe. We won, and we were able to pick the order on who goes first and whatever. So
So the next day, you have, well, I guess, how was that first night of sleeping in the woods?
yeah, that first night was difficult. It was like I feel everyone keeps saying they slept for like 20 minutes. But in my opinion, only person that really slept for 20 minutes that first night was Juan. Because seriously, I I think me, Jay West, I probably slept for like 40 minutes. But every time I woke up, I seeing a different person up. But only person that was up every time attending to the fire was Juan. And only reason a lot of people were able to sleep for a long time was because of Juan. He kept like, attending to the fire. He was like he said it was a comfortable thing for him, and I'm like again, I can converse with anybody. I started asking him like, "Yo, why you just go lay down? I'll copy you." And I even took over, and then Allison took over. Then he got to go to sleep, but it was like it was something that he was just used to doing from being at home. He's from Mississippi. He said he used to campfires, and I'm not from that area. I don't know what it's like out there, so I'm like, bet if you comfortable doing fires, that's gonna help us be sleep, and we were able to sleep easily, but it was difficult because it was cold at night. You wake up shivering. But our camp got built pretty great. Like we had this great structure from Chad. He had we had we had the rope go across, and we had a whole bunch of leaves that we picked from trees. So we had our tarp on the ground, and we had some people bring in like rain jackets, and their rain jackets are like high tech rain jackets, so you can turn into tarps. So I'm like, bet we got extra tarps. So we just like laying around having fun. And that was pretty much it.
I'm curious, with like the way everyone started with a third of an idol, were you looking at and searching for other stuff in the woods, or you pretty much kind of, or did you not do that?
So me personally, I was not. I wasn't. I was trying to like watch people that was trying to be sneaky, but only people that was really walking off, in my opinion, was Chad, and he was kept walking off with the machete. So I would try to sometimes walk off with him.
Mhm.
I would walk off sometimes with Andrew. I seen Allison building her connections and conversing with people, and that's just a game. You got to watch everybody. So I wasn't not going to be that guy to go search for anything because that cryptex already had the whispers going about Kobe.
And so, in the first day, do you feel like you'd made any good connections with player? Are there any players that you were like, I need to keep an eye on you, I'm worried about you, you may be a threat to me?
Yeah. So again, you don't know anyone's mind, but I just was going off vibes in the beginning, and I got a good vibe with Andrew off jump because I don't know if you know, or a lot of people don't know. I used to be a volunteer fireman for about 7 years of my life, and Andrew, he's a career fireman, so I know how it is in a firehouse. You just bust balls all day, and he reminded me of a couple of my friends from at home, so it was just comfortable to be around him. And this is his very first live game. He could be lying, but he played like it was. So I was just like joking with him a lot. And that was a vibe, dude. Me and Andrew, I was close with him. Kobe, again, like I said, is someone that I knew from at home. Not we didn't even follow each other online. So I don't want to say like we knew each other, but once we drove that 3 hours, it was more clarity that like if we end up crossing paths in the game, we want to play together. So since we started off in the beginning tribe, it was easier, and he was one of the biggest people on our tribe. So I'm like, look, I want to keep him around for a shield and and a number for me because I like him. And yeah, so that was the two people. And Allison, I liked Allison a lot because I felt like I've seen her game, like not seeing her, but like when I was looking at her,
Yeah.
it was so predictable. Like I'm like, look, she's playing like Jay West. Like she was joking around. She was making different connections, and I even called that out to her when we and her was talking one on one. I'm like, look, Allison, I want something with you and me. Like, and me and her, we got pulled in this. I keep saying that big alliance. We got pulled in that big alliance around the same time. So I was like cheering for her because I'm like, look, me and you, we got the best spot in the game. I told her, I said, look, I'm keep jumping around, but yeah, I was just happy to play with those three people, in my opinion,
Mhm.
Allison, Juan, and Andrew.
So the next day, you have your next reward, your third reward challenge, where you're basically knocking blocks off a table, to reassembling a puzzle, and your tribe wins that challenge. How are you feeling about that?
Again, feeling great because we completed the puzzle now. So I'm like, bet that's the puzzle tribe that we just beat. They all saying they got like 4 or 5 people on their tribe that can do puzzles. We have people on our tribe who weren't confident. I took the initiative myself to just be a rebounder, even though I'm confident throwing. But we got young Kobe, who's a baseball guy, and I forget who else. No, it was I forget the other person I was throwing. But anyway, it was Andrew. It was me, Andrew, and Kobe. They were throwing. I just got the rebounds. I threw in the beginning, but I felt like that was a lot helpful because how we stacked up there. Because the challenge was we stack up their puzzles and they stack up ours. And I did something similar to this in a game before, and I'm like, look, let's just put it closer to the boards because for ours, if we put ours further back, when they throw it, it's going to fall off the table easier. That was a strategy, it kind of would work, and it did. And once we went to their puzzles when we was throwing it off the board, it was a lot further back. And I'm like, see, I told y'all. So we all threw our once, and I'm like, look, I'm going to be the rebounder. Y'all keep throwing, and that was it. And we end up winning.
So for this reward, Kobe ends up being selected from your tribe to go raid the other tribe. What happens when he comes back?
So first, I didn't want him to go because at that point I'm like, yeah, I want a new scenery. I'm bored as ever. I'm so impulsive. Like I just want to go meet new people. I wanted to strong arm that other tribe for information. But the youngest player in the whole damn game goes, like, come on now. So and he had the crypt tech. So when he went, we already started to jump through all these conclusions. We was like, look, Kobe gonna come back with something. Like we were like, even if it's just information or comfort, he's going to come back with something. And at that point, he had to be the first. Excuse me. He had to be the target for that first. Excuse me. I'm sorry. He had to be the target for that first tribal because I don't know, like it was no way of saving him at that point. I'm like, yo, he went, he came, he told his information, and sure enough, he opened up this crypt text. I know I'm spoiling it, but he once in opening that crypt text, he said he opened it with no information, but and then he told a lot of people different stories. But when he was telling me the stories, I kept being around him. We're hearing all his stories, and he told me and Allison at the same time in front of everyone first before we was walking to the challenge. She was like, Allison J. West, because we were in the back. Like I said, Allison, and I was seeing her game. So I'm like, yo, being her walking, he came up to us. He's like, I just opened up the cryptex and it's just candy. We like, and then she was like, oh, good job. Congratulations. I don't even eat candy. So I'm like, bro, I don't want to be picked. You know what I'm saying? Keep that off of me. Like, so I'm just happy that he told me he was comfortable to come to me. But again, it was bad for him.
You have one more reward challenge. This is the challenge where Rob single-handedly carries all the blocks in the water, and like your team just never is able to get the things to balance on the platform. So after that, before your first immunity challenge, could you rank the players in the tribe from most important to least important to your game?
Okay. In that time span, I was thinking like before you talk about before the individual immunity
Just
challenge.
before the first individual immunity challenge.
Okay, before the first individual immunity challenge, I was just thinking Chad, he has to stay. So he was number one because one, he was very helpful around camp and he always spoke up about strategies on how we should like attack challenges. So he was number one. And then I put Allison as number two because I was looking at her as me. If I can't pick myself, I'm gonna pick her. And I seen her like, being social with everyone, and me and her was getting pulled into the same numbers. So I was happy to see her play the way she did. And then I liked Andrew a lot, in my opinion, because again, he was somebody that played, in my opinion, a boring game because he just never really spoke up. But I like players like that sometimes, especially we're like yin and yang. Like I'm different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like that. But I need someone to like balance me out. And he was cool. So I was like, all right, I like Andrew there. And then I see Allison. I mean, I see Aliana. I from my opinion, I thought Aliana was kind of a messy player because she was telling me a lot. We love you, Jay West. Yeah. Sorry, yeah, I thought she was a messy player in the beginning because in the beginning she was coming to me and include me in things in the beginning, but I was just like, again, I wasn't trying to. I don't know what I was doing, to be honest, Steve. I was just happy to play, and I was getting a good vibe with everyone. But it was only her, Aliana, that kept including me. She didn't want to include me into this five. She didn't want to ask me to be in some weird number two, like two-player alliance. So I'm like, yo, she's messy. Like I was looking at it like it's desperation. But yeah, I was happy to see that hierarchy. Then at the bottom, I didn't continue. I'm gonna say Jess, then Deb. No, it goes. I would say Jess because she was social as well. Then I'm gonna say Juan because he was athletic, but I just thought that he was out of the loop. I just thought because he wasn't really like giving much. I know at least Andrews because he wasn't talking, but he was around people. Juan, he was isolating himself and just doing things in the beginning that first night himself. So everyone kind of like had to follow him in the beginning just to talk to him. So I would say Juan and Deb was kind of like at the bottom.
And so, was there a person you wanted to vote off first, or the person you liked who? I guess rephrase. Who would have been your ideal first boot before at that point?
ideally, that first boot, I blew up my game for Kobe. So ideally, I would say Deb, strictly because, like, again, she was strong. Like, we're our tribe, we all loved each other. But when there's a but, you gotta look at the other side too. But once we all like got comfort, we end up getting a chair. She kind of like never really got up off the chair. A lot of the times before every challenge, she always said what she wouldn't do. But in the challenge, she did do it and she did do them well. But just the pushback alone, and it was like, come on, Deb. Like, and then on top of that, like, when we get rice in seasoning, she's the only person that puts sugar on her rice. There's nothing wrong with that, but she, want her own thing. I'm like, yo, it's hard to, like, and you know how it is. You just gotta play the game.
The rice
I love
politics.
Deb. I love Deb the most. Like right now, obviously, but I'm not the most. I just love Deb because we spent a lot of time together. But it was just like in the beginning, I would just rather have Deb go first. It wasn't against age. A lot of people on our tribe said they didn't want girls to go first for even thing, and Deb even came to me straight up, was like, I don't want to do an all girls thing. And I, like, again, I was getting information from everyone, and I had to just blurt all my information to Andrew. I'm like, look, bro, because he ain't saying shit. I just had to tell him, like, and I know he knows so much, it's going to just be overload because I was watching him talk to so many people. Well, not talk, he'd be around so many people. So if he's not talking, something, it's going to blow up his game somehow. So I just had to tell Andrew.
Were you concerned at all about an all girls alliance?
I was not all I wasn't concerned about no type of all girl alliance, nothing, because like, again, I was more comfortable with Allison than anyone. Like in the game, in my opinion, from my perspective, I was playing real close with Allison. I thought that she was my close player in the game. I didn't make any alliances, but I just was watching her, and I even said to her, I want to play with her. I was playing very close with her, and I thought that we was like the two pieces. And I seen that like, again, she was talking with Juan a lot, and I was talking with Andrew a lot. So we had our two people outside of this big alliance, and
So you have that first individual immunity challenge at the end of day two. This is the man down challenge, which involves carrying someone with a stretcher, and there's a lot of different pieces and parts to this challenge. Where are you in this challenge?
I was partnered up with Aliana, and we was the ones holding a PB pipe, and you gotta hold the ball, and you gotta put in the box. And again, Aliana and I, we did well. We communicated well. I sacrificed my knees, getting in that squat formation, and kept shuffling. But uh, we were in the lead. We was in a big lead. Deb, she shed light that Jess was the only one that kept messing up in that challenge. But it's the game. Like, there's going to be things that some of us aren't better than others. So I really never even took light to that. But Deb did great. She did do great. We were in the lead. Our tribe came in first because I didn't see them doing their charades or whatever they were doing. I just seen our guys coming up carrying Allison. So I'm like, Purple is nowhere to be found. And then Jess, she had the ball. She dropped the ball a few times, and the Purple ended up coming. So it ended up being an even race with Jess and whoever was doing it on their tribe. It was Jess and Sam. They kept doing it back and forth. And Deb, she got it first try straight to me and Aliana. And then me and Aliana, we took us about like 4 times, but we ended up taking the lead back from everyone.
Unfortunately, you do not win the challenge, and you have a good 12 hours for tribal council because your tribal council will be the following morning. Talk me through the scramble because this is where the game kind of opens up. Because now, I mean, Kobe and Deborah's name have floated, but now everyone needs a target. Now is the time to kind of start getting an alliance together. Walk me through what happens and how this unfolds.
So I drink some water because I'm gonna be talking. All right. That night was the longest night of my life. I swear to God, because I knew it shouldn't have been that hectic for me personally. But at that challenge, again, like I said, I was partnered up with Aliana, and while we were waiting, she was like, Jay West, I liked you early on. I said I would play with you early on. She already told me about her clue. So she was like, there's a 4 with me and Chad. When she said that, I got scared because I was with Chad a lot. and he never talked game with me. But I knew that he was a poker player. Obviously, everyone was talking about this, so I'm like, damn, her and Chad are talking. That's instantly went in my head. But then she was like, her and Chad, Jess, you and Allison. So I'm like, I just started smiling. I'm like, all right, that's the majority. Me and Allison is in this 5. So once I got that information from Aliana, I'm like, boom. So we lose. We go back to camp, and everyone starts scrambling. At first, obvious name was Kobe. Everyone kept talking Kobe, 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 and I just didn't want that. I didn't like push hard, but I did talk with I did talk with Chad a lot because I thought that he was the one that forged this alliance, and it was I just thought it was Chad and Aliana that came together that made that 4 or 5 alliance. So I'm like looking at it like, if you two are calling shots around the camp, like I want to talk to you two strictly. Like, look, I think that Kobe is stronger. You know, I feel like he not stronger. I just feel like he's an easier person to get out the next round. He's messy.
Mhm.
He's like, he's young, and like we can just save him from muscle at this first vote. And you know, I maybe pushed too hard, but I think Chad came around. He kind of agreed with me. He said, "You know what, Jay, what you're right." We ended up talking with the guys, and then even Aliana came back to me. She was like, "Look, you guys, all the guys were talking for a long time, and that scared all of us girls because again, everyone was coming to me, telling me everything. They're like, Jay West, it was 5 guys talking for a long time, and we got scared it was going to be an all guys thing. And then Deb even came to me and was like, Jay West, like, would you vote with me and the girls and go vote out, Kobe?" And I was like, if I do that, I got to go tell Juan because I don't want to be the only guy that turned on the guys. You know what I'm saying? So I started to think about all these scenarios getting pulled into all these ways. But then it got dark, nighttime, and that's when the camp life happened. And I guess Juan was thinking like, look, his name ain't happening. He ain't attending to the fire, and we were cold. So only people that were up were me, Juan. He woke up, but it was Kobe. Kobe like was laying next to me, and he told me, he like, Jay West, it's hard. Like he literally said it. He's like, it's hard to go to sleep when I don't hear a name. Like I don't know a name that's going around. And Deb told him before it was like dark that Jess was a name that she's willing to say. But I was right there. It was us 3 standing there. And Deb said to him that she would rather go Jess. And he went straight to confessionals. And then she told me to expose that. So I was just like getting dirt on everybody. So I'm like, yo, this is fun. Because if we would have went to trouble that night, that day, I would have been happy. But anyway, that he wakes me up. We talk. Juan comes around. And I told Kobe straight up, I'm like, Kobe, bro, like it's you, bro. Like you gotta tell people like what's in that thing. He said, I told everyone it's just candy. Like he even picked players to eat candy with. So he was like, and I'm like, yeah, but you telling us you opened it with no clues? Like, come on now. And he really did. Like he's just super smart. So it was I'm like, come on, man. Like, we don't believe you. So I don't know, it's hard to save him, but in my opinion, I was just thinking, like, look, if I can just get 2 people in my alliance to flip this first vote, maybe that's just going to blow up the alliance because I don't even want to be in that alliance. That's what I was thinking in my head. I'm like, look, that alliance, you can't say no in Survivor. That's the majority. So I got pulled into it. And I was already scared of Chad because I thought that he had the most sway on the camp. And Aliana, because she pulled me into alliance, she had the clue. So when them 2 came and brought that 5 or put me into that 4 or 5 or whatever, I was like, damn, they running the camp. I gotta listen to them. Maybe I can just convince Chad. And I told Chad, and I think he was on board. Then Jess wakes up, and that's what killed everything. Juan and Kobe were talking for a long time, and I went back to camp to go lay down, and I laid down, and Jess, she laid down, and she woke up, and I was just trying to I guess I was doing too much, and I got her. I'm like, look, yo, Juan told me, which was the truth, because he did. Juan told me that Deb actually wants to go, so she gave him her bead. But Deb was playing the game. She just gave the bead to Juan, and Juan ended up having an extra bead, and that's why I ended up blowing his game up right then and there. And he was mad at me. But then Jess woke up and went to go talk to Kobe, and then she talked to Aliana, and I was watching her talk to people. But then me and Juan went to go talk again, and Juan said, Jay West, you're doing too much. Go back to sleep. You making everyone mad. But Juan, he wasn't in the alliance that I was in. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
I should have kept being Messy West. I should have just kept lingering Jess at that point. Like seriously, like if I'm talking about it right now, I'm thinking like, yo, I should have just like once I told Jess, I already knew it was like word vomit. I'm like, damn it. All right. I mean, I trust her, but you know what I'm saying? It's just like so she was like her Jess pushed back to everything. She said she didn't want to get rid of Deb first because she didn't want to be the second oldest person. And then it would have been 3 girls, and then we could do steamroll the girls. And I told her it wasn't a guy girls thing. So I don't know. I felt like Kobe was the best option. Again, I pushed that it wasn't a real first boot. We did 5 challenges. Deb has played games like this before in the past. She opened up about it about camp. A couple of people opened about their game experience. People said who they crossed paths with at the other tribe. So it was just like, I'm like, yeah. So the middle of the night, it just literally did just blow up my game. It sunk my ship.
So the next morning, how are you feeling?
The next morning, I felt bad. I ain't gonna lie. I told Kobe, he was like one of the first people I talked to. I was like, look, bro, I think I might have messed up a lot just trying to like sacrifice you. So if I hear anything, I'll let you know. But I gotta vote with the majority here. That's what I told him. And he was just like, all right, I don't think you're in danger. I don't like you should be out of like and I was just like that gut feeling. And
Mm.
then I was just like moping around. Like not like moping around, but I was just like trying to be a lot helpful. Allison came over to me. Again, Juan was by herself. She's like being Juan again, we had like a little shot match at night time because that's just us. Like we the homies now. So uh she was like, Jay West, Juan, he's alone. He just, oh shit. She was like, Jay West, Juan's alone. He wants to, sorry, it's my nightlight. She was like, Juan's alone. You go talk to him, but the plan's still on, right? And I was like, yeah, I mean, what's the plan? Like, I don't want to say no name at this point. And I already told my confessionals, like, the only 2 people I really want to linger this day was Allison and Aliana. For some reason, I still didn't trust Chad, but I just knew he agreed with me the night before because that was the last thing he said is, Jay West, you're right. I would rather keep Kobe. And I was like, bet. I got Chad, and he's one of the people that can say a lot of the things. So if Aliana and Allison are around me and I know where they're voting, at least I know where the votes are going, and I'll just, do damage control when I come back. But at that point, I thought we were going dead.
Okay. And so did you get any inkling that things had turned on you that morning?
No, I should have knew because, like, obviously, you have these like PTSD gamer
Hmm.
things in your head. That's why I love this right now. Thank you. But at the Outcast camp, I obviously was thinking back, and I'm like, I remember clear as day at that night when everyone was like waking up talking. Aliana came to me. She was like, Jay West, the 4 of us are thinking either Kobe or Deb. What are you thinking? And I'm like, let's go get all 4 of us and let's just talk. And she said, literally, this is verbatim. She goes, and I was like, I ain't saying nothing. If it's you and me right here and y'all can't think of a name, let's go get all 5 of us. I'm not the one that's going to dictate the vote. You know what I want. Then Allison walked up, and then I was like, I was like, Aliana, can you repeat what I just said? And she did. And then Allison and Aliana just started laughing, and I was like, all right, so when we can get our 5, I'll be back. And then that's when I walked away. And that's when me and Juan started having a back and forth. And then that's when them 3 with Chad, it was them 2 and Chad, and then Jess came up. And then I went over there again, and it was all 5 of us. And it was like, look, Jay West, you're right. Deb is the vote. Like, we're gonna go Deb. And everyone, the next morning, everybody talking Deb. So yeah, that was it.
So talk me through the vote reveal.
The vote reveal. All right. It was a blind side. It ended up being 5-4, which I thought was dumb because I really was even telling people like the first vote shouldn't be a blind side, especially if you want to have unity in a tribe. We're in my opinion, we're already the stronger tribe. We're physically stronger. We're vibes. We got the crappier camp, but we're in our mind, we got the hotel and nada, right? So it's like we're better than them. And I thought that that first blindside is just going to like mess up anybody. Even if it was a blindside on Kobe, I thought that was stupid. I thought that we all should have been on the same page. Just the first vote, right? That was my mindset, and I was even saying that to my core alliance that I got pulled into. So the vote count ended up being Jess voted for me, Allison voted for me, Chad voted for me, Aliana voted for me, and the fifth was Deb.
Deb.
Yeah, she had to save herself, and I'm not mad at Deb at that. But the four guys, you see what happened to them. You see what four end up going deep. So
So was there any internal debate about going to the Outcast tribe, or you're just like, nah, I'm going?
I mean, I'm a gamer. I respect the game. I was pissed that I didn't burn anybody in the game not once. So to go out first, I was hurt. I was just like, you know what? At least the first vote is me. I get to decompress alone, away from everyone. And I did that. I was distraught, to be honest. I didn't even want to talk to production. I was just sitting in silence, and that's not like
Mhm.
me. So I sat there for a while. But again, like you said, a little history of me. I've been first boot before, but at that time I was first boot. I was jury because it was only 13 cast member. So this, it was just like a different uh and in sequester, I never been voted out before. I always got dragged into a battle. So I in this game being voted out, it was hurt. I'm like, damn, so many things were going on in my head. Like, didn't I like them around camp? Was I doing too much? Like I already
Mhm.
knew like I was talking too much. Maybe I shouldn't have said Kobe, but you know how your mind just rambles.
Do you feel like your experience in the Outcast camp helped with that processing?
1,000%. It definitely did because production ended up coming around. Like I said, once I was in there, I ended up thinking like, if I'm going to be the first person in here, I want everyone to get the experience that I had. I like first production, they gave me my time. So I want to give everybody else their time. And then production, they helped build the camp with me. They taught me different things. So I'm going to teach people different things that production taught me. And then we had to compete in challenges too,
Mhm.
and to get the same rewards that the players in the game were getting. So the game was never really over. We kept getting information. The biggest surprise that I seen coming into the Outcast camp was Trav, because I didn't meet him, but that was like another blindside from their tribe. So
Mhm.
when he came, that was a breath of fresh air to me because Deb, in my head, I knew she was going next or Kobe was going next. So when Deb came, no offense to Deb or Janai, but there's just two older ladies. So again, I'm just alone still, and I can talk with them both, but it's like they don't even really want to talk game. They just really want to talk about their personal life. So I just like attended to the camp life. But then when Trav came, I was able to like hear a different perspective, hear him decompress, and we got real close. And I was thankful that the other tribe blindsided Trav because I had someone else around the same age group as me and to talk game with again. So he's all into it.
Shout out for Melanie saying you're an awesome Outcast member.
Yeah,
Melanie was one of the
they gave me the
handlers there with
flag. The
you.
flag is actually hanging up in my garage. But yeah, I wish
Oh,
I was there.
nice. So that third day, the Outcast grows to four players. You said Janai, Deborah, and Trav all join you. How was that night at Outcast?
That night was that first night was actually really crazy. I don't know if you know, but we had the movie reward before the house did, before the players in the camp did. So, like again, like I said, we had to do challenges consistently to to get the things that the players in the game were getting. And since Trav, when he came, he didn't even want to come to the camp. He gave us our things, and he said, "I'll just be like 20 minutes." And then he laid in the grass for about 2 hours. He didn't even talk to nobody. So I just went to go lay with him. I even said that. I was like, hey bro, I'm gonna just lay with you. You ain't even gotta talk to me. I'm gonna just lay with you.
Hmm.
So then he's like, I appreciate that. And then he just started telling me a bunch about fucking Allison and Jess, how they knew each other. I'm listening to him like, what? God, but I ain't showing emotion. I'm just listening to him like, God damn, man, I got played. But that's because they all played this game or something or whatever the hell. It's a big, tiny LRG community. But anyway, we end up going to a movie because we had this challenge. It was something that was pretty high. We had to stack different shaped blocks, and long as the blocks, match and they don't fall within like 10 seconds or 3 seconds or whatever, we get to watch the movie. And in my head, I was even joking. I'm like, y'all, this is like an endurance comp because they said we can stay out there as long as we want on these comfortable chairs, as long as we don't go to sleep. So we all like throwing popcorn at each other, joking around, just like, trying to keep our heads alive.
What movie did you watch?
We watched Jack and Jill, Adam Sandler. It's a survivor movie.
It's iconic, but my condolences.
Yeah, it sucked, but it was funny because the next day again they gave us a quiz on it, and since we were up paying attention to it, we passed the quiz. They gave us a sandwich, just like the players in the game. They got their sandwich. So all things mattered in Outcast camp. It didn't matter if you didn't think it did. Like, we still came together as a camp. We learned how to make fire better. We know how to build our camp better. It was a great experience for me because I think that I needed peace and I needed to feel loved again. And I felt that back at that camp. So I'm like, true, as a place I needed to be.
So what skills do you feel like you learned and that you're taking away from?
Well, I'm a survivalist now, bro. So if you and I ever cross paths, I got your back. You know what I'm saying? I can.
Good, because I have very little survival skills. I've still yet to make a fire with a flint and steel.
Yeah, I'm the man at it now. I don't want to say I'm the man at it, but I got a fire pit in the yard. I literally got it started last night because Mel, shout out to Mel, she let me take my flint back home. So I'm like, I still be striking it with my little knife. I'm nice with it, but in the game, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but we end up doing this freaking challenge.
Yeah.
And
let's get that. So the next day you have Nina and Kobe join you. Any surprise with those two?
Kobe, no, because we all predicted that. After, like, I knew the layout of our tribe. It was either going to be Deb or Kobe next anyway. And once Deb, she was the number that they needed to get me out. They got her out next. So then Kobe was still on the bottom, and they needed to win. And then once he lost, they got Kobe out. So I already knew the orange dynamic. But once Nina came, I didn't know anything about Nina. But from Trav, he gave me all bad intel because he was just so out of the loop. He was blindsided, like he didn't know what was going on. So even when Nina came, he didn't even want to talk to her at first until she told him that they voted together. And he was like, oh shit. So then they compared notes again, and he was like back to being jolly. So I'm like, bro, what the hell? You have me up all night, like thinking like, all right, now I know who to trust and who not to trust on the purple tribe. But no, Nina. Me and Nina, I like Nina a lot. Like I said, Nina, she was sequestered with me. We played games at that night. We did like some mind melt thing. Me and her, we melted minds, and we both got Nickelodeon together. So that's my girl. Like, I'm so happy that I got to meet Nina and the Outcast camp. So that 6 was, in my opinion, was a pretty strong 6. And we had to gather all our things to go back to go battle against the other camps.
So you go and you compete against the other 2 tribes in a classic Survivor Challenge breakout, which ends with you needing all the tribes in the start a fire. And with the wins, this was a long and brutal challenge.
Yes, it was super long and brutal, but again, I want to toot my own horn, but I had us in the front. I was the guy that rolled, so I rolled. I had the lead, and it's funny too. I was even talking trash. I was talking trash to the other tribes, and we end up getting in the lead. Purple was far behind. It was like, because Rob, he had his arm through his rope broke, or his stick broke, and it was no more things for him to get. So it was just us and Anada. Anada just kept going back and forth for the fire. But the person that was on fire for us was Janai, and she was, I don't want to throw too much dirt on Janai, but she was just so persistent that she wanted to do the fire. And it was hard for Trav and I to just let her do the fire, because once I got that little information from production and once I practiced with it, I felt all the way confident, and it was a fresh flint. I'm like, I want to be the fire guy. I used to be a fireman anyway. I already know how to attend to the smoke and the, everything. But once I can get it started, it's on and popping. And the magnesium part was the part that was hard for her. Like her hand, I mean, Janai, shout out to Janai. She did not stop. She did go all the way until her hands was bleeding and then some. But then production was like, they like, look, nobody's getting it. Purple end up catching up. They like, all right, they're gonna give us another time to like let players shuffle. So we all got an opportunity to move around, talk. But again, that was Nina and Kobe's first time coming to the camp. We're all mad seeing our old camp. So we're so many people talking. And I got fire, started twice. Trav got fire, started twice. But with the win, it took it out. So yeah.
Had your tribe won, you would have likely gotten to vote someone back into the game if this was like Pearl Islands. Do you know who would have been from the Outcast would have made it back in at this point?
Again, being cocky, I'm gonna say me. Excuse me, but hear me out. Kobe end up. I'm gonna just say Kobe. I think definitely would have voted for me because we already talked about. We punched the numbers already. I think I would have got one vote from Kobe, and I don't think Trav would have voted how he said because he's somebody that like to play super strategic. He would have threw his vote on somebody, and I would have messed it up for everybody. And I
Yeah.
said that to him like 4 times, so that probably would have scared him. So maybe he would have, maybe Trav would have gave Nina's vote, and I think I would have gotten Deb's vote because Deb, she said like over and over and over and over and over she didn't want to go back in, even though in her mind she still was playing us because she said that to us. She's like, you know that when it was the battle back, I ain't drop, I ain't do this first. I was just trying to beat y'all. I was like, I know, Deb. I know how you are. You just say things just to. But I think Deb really enjoyed my company and how hard I was working and how hurt I felt that off that blind side. I think she definitely would have just gave me the vote, and that's all I needed was 2 votes, and everybody else would have got one.
Andrew is the next person voted out of the game. Also, Millie thinks you also would have gotten Deb's vote. So
Yeah.
that could have been enough. Andrew is the next person voted the game and joined you the Outcast tribe. What was your reaction to seeing him join?
Again, wasn't so surprised, but I was happy to see Andrew because that's like again a player that I was comfortable with in the game. I thought I was gonna get a whole ton of information from him because I was calling Andrew like the journal guy, like the diary or whatever, because I was telling him my secrets, and I thought everybody else was doing the same thing. And sure enough, he did. He came back. He told us that he gave his beat up to Juan, and he told Juan uh, not to play it. And then I don't know why he did all that. And then the one time his ass shouldn't have been talking, he did. And Juan ended up getting all the votes, and Juan saved himself. And then Andrew went out. And once Andrew goes, it was more of a damn, Andrew, like you fell on the sword for nothing, and that's what he said he felt more confident to battle back into the game. He said the tribe was kind of messy. So at that point, I just felt like, that forward was sticking together. I told him, I'm like, look, this is Survivor, bro. This is smoke screen. That's what I was telling him. Like, they gonna show you and tell you whatever in front of your face, but they're a unit. They probably threw you 2 votes just like to split them. That's just me hearing them out. But like I said, that's like I felt like a friend from at home. So I'm just trying to keep it real with them, trying to break down the gamer world. But yeah, I was happy to see Andrew.
So we haven't really talked about the beads. And so were you tempted at all to try to hand off your bead to someone who was still in the game?
In the game, no. Hell no. I would rather die with my beat. Seriously, like I guess if I'm being honest, like if I'm all the way being honest, I think I would have. You have to at this point, right? You need some type of currency. You gotta get into a number because I'm the one that they need. But again, my mindset is if you're desperate, like if you come into somebody with all this, like I need you, I need you. No one wants to work with no one desperate. So I try to play it cool all times, and I really think that the beads was just best for the players who were on the bottom. But from what I heard, Chad got a bunch of players to give him his beads, and if he can do it once, he can do it again. So I'm thinking like, look, I already know the layout from our tribe. So then I heard the layout from the purple tribe, and I'm like, Rob's at the bottom, Nina's here with us, and I know Sam. And but then Sam ended up coming. Or fast forward, she ended up coming to the Outcast camp last, and so I'm like, just Rob at the bottom. Already had a little public tiff with Isaiah, and so I'm like, God damn it, I gotta just show my charisma and get back in someone's good graces. And I even said it to like the players, like if I'd have got back in the game, I would have tried to get back in good with Orange. I would have just tried to blow up Allison's game though. I would have just tried to come straight to Aliana and Chad straight up and told Chad and Aliana everything I know, because they're the two people I don't trust the most. But it's like the devil you don't know. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I don't know purple. You know what I'm saying? And I know orange, and I know who the scariest to me in orange was. In my opinion, it was Aliana and Allison, the two girls. I mean, and Chad, all three of them. And I'm like, and Jess, hearing that Jess was with Allison, like before, like they have a little relationship, and I'm like, that messed me up. And then Chad and Ali, they were close, not in the game, strategizing. So I'm like, yo, I'm the fifth. So I would just have to figure out which two people. So I was gonna come to Aliana and Chad and let them know what I know from Trav.
How does that final redemption challenge go for you? This is kind of a bit of an endurance and balance challenge. You're trying to hold a ball in place with two oddly shaped pieces of pipe.
So that redemption challenge was terrible. So a little bit about Jay West. I never out of I played 3 one-day Survivor games, and now this. I never in my life won individual immunity, despite me being a good challenge guy. I'm good in everything. In my head, I can do puzzles. I can be physical, the whole nine. I'm
Mhm.
social, but I never beat anybody in the individual immunity. Even though I've been deep into jury plenty of times, that's just never something I never received. So I was honestly really scared, despite me trying to scare everyone at camp, saying, "Look, I'm gonna get back in." There was even a couple people saying, "All right, Jay West, even if you get back in, you better do this," because I felt like I got them scared enough to believe that I was gonna get in. So once I knew that it was an endurance camp, I thought that it's all about will at this point. If you really want it, you just gonna hold on, bro. Did I want it? My hands was about to break, and you know what killed me? I was standing next to Nina, who was like as solid as a rock, and then a
Mhm.
fly just started to like linger near my eyes instead of hers. I'm like blinking still, and then before you know it, my shit dropped, and I just was like smiling because at this point, like I'm already like content. Again, like I said, I would rather one player get back in the game that way than the voting way, because we already built like this big good group again. You know what I'm saying? We would have ripped each
Mhm.
other apart just to get one person back in the game. So I was like, congrats, Nina.
How was so you end up leaving the game on day 5, right? You still get a large part of the game, and so you then kind of watch the game unfold over the next 2 days, because really the merge is a blitz of 2.5 days. I guess anything surprised you watching how the rest of the game played out?
What surprised me was the house or the players in the game never taking a shot at Rob, because I didn't know the conversations that were happening at camp. I seen the challenges. So when they were doing the challenges, we were able to watch the challenges. We just, couldn't speak on anything. And I was obviously cheering for Nina because she was one of us. She got out of the Outcast camp. She did really well. She made it to Final Four. And I thought that Allison was going to be in danger, but then to hear
Mhm.
Allison was pretty much cool with Rob, or she knew Rob from another game. I'm like, yo, this girl knew like half of the cast. I mean, no shade on her, because she got me. I was loving her, so I would have been I wanted to be in a loop. You know what I'm saying? So I just thought that she was probably working with people she really didn't have good relationships with, and she did a good job. And to see Allison go to the end wasn't surprising. But I did think it was going to be hard for her to get the votes, despite who she sat next to. And I think expressed this to her. I think her best bet was just to try to in late game just to do an all girls thing, because Trav broke it down to Nina, saying that it was only like a couple of girls that ended up winning Reelfoot.
Mm-hmm.
It was like two. So I think, yeah, 3 or 2. You said,
To Jimmy and Angela have been the
yeah. So like,
female winners.
yeah. So yeah, and I think that would have like maybe I don't know if it would have swayed them, but I think that would have just made them think like, look, Rob is a winner. Like once I got that information that he won twice, now 3, I'm like, this guy's great. And why would you want to sit next to him? And you know that already, Allison. But I guess she thought because he was at the bottom the whole time of his tribe. But who doesn't like a redemption story? Like everyone, like as a
Mhm.
viewer, as a player, we all want to see the underdog. And he was playing by himself. He was fighting alone, like beating our ass himself, a lot of the time. So I'm like, gotta give it to him, Allison. Like, come on now. But like, I think she played a great game. I think he played a good game. And even though he got blindsided a lot, like he did not know where the votes were going a lot. So that's why I was more surprised that he got a lot of the votes. But Allison, she got all the orange votes that was her own jury besides one. So
Mhm. How was your experience kind of in the production house and the post game for you?
So the production house was great. Post game was great. Again, we got our phones back. We got closer. We were like already got to eat food, so it was good. The jury ended up coming. They got their jury section, so we really didn't really talk to them as much. But we was able to play games with production at nighttime. It was just a good vibe all around. Thankful for the experience. I loved it. It felt so real. I kept saying it to everyone because like I think I got so many memories in this game, and I do like walking with Wes every morning. I walk my dogs, and I post it on social media as I'm walking my dogs. I talk about now
Yeah,
my experience.
your puppy's been the background at certain points in time, and he or she looks adorable. She
Yeah,
like went beyond the wall a little bit ago.
yeah. Oh shit, yeah. He's right here laying down. Yeah, but so yeah, I rant about my time in Reelfoot, to be honest. I'm like, yo, I'm like, like you said, it's gamer PTSD. We consistently talk about like what we should have did or could have did, and I love to like keep our group unit. I don't have to be included no more. I just love to see conversations flowing. So I might throw a random scenario or question in the group chat just to get people going. Then I'll disappear. You know what I'm saying? That's just
Drive by question and run.
yeah, and let everybody start talking like all over again. But that's just me. Like I just I love to be in a loop. I love to be included, and it was just dope to get asked to play. And I by Mel, shout out to her, shout out to Stan, 2 production members who both recommended me this game. If you don't know, I'm Filipino and black, so I was big fan of Stan a long time ago. So he pitched this game to me a while ago, but I was like, hell no, I'm never doing. Like in my eyes, I'm like, I'm not doing no live reality game that a fan. But then like hearing that this was the biggest thing from Mel, then I did more homework on it, being in the community now. So I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Then obviously a sequester castmate of mine ended up playing Dina. So I'm like, I know like a little bit about this game. I don't know too much about it, but I feel comfortable enough to go play it.
I think there's now been 3 sequester players who played it. You, Dina, and Kristen Williams.
Oh shit, Kristen. Oh, that's my girl. So
Yeah.
I knew Kristen been in this world for a while. She runs like
Mhm.
Survivor Canada.
Yep.
Yeah. So she told me to come out there a few times. I would love to play her game. That's my girl. I haven't seen her since like 2022 or 2021. But I'm somebody that played like a good amount of these games, but literally every time I play these games, I get close to every castmate I have. So if you ever wanted to reach out to anybody, like I can get you them to talk to. Like you see me when you had Teeny on here, I was the busting balls with Teeny the whole time because that's how I am. I just like to keep everyone included, and I know that this game is going to end, just like they say, like
Mhm.
fire represents your life, so are you. But we ain't dead in this real world. You know what I'm saying? So we can still win and be successful in the real world, and still talk about our experiences and hang out or whatever the case may be. And so that's how I look at it.
So, what is your biggest coulda, shoulda, woulda, or like thing, or maybe thing you wish you'd done differently, looking back at your game and experience?
All right. I could have stayed quiet. I should have stayed quiet, but I never would do that. So what I should have did, because me and Juan broke this down, because me and Juan, we was like brothers out there, brothers and sisters or whatever the case may be. We bumped heads, but we agreed with everything. He was just telling me to shut up, but he was on the outs, and I was feeding him information. So I wish I knew Allison's information, but this is what I wish. I wish Allison took my offer. I said, Allison, me and her got pulled into this 5. It was me and her, Jess, Chad and Aliana. That's the 5. And I told Allison, I'm like, Allison, you like Juan, I like Andrew. If they vote out Deb first, you and I, we got the power in the tribe. We can bounce around and pick which side we want to go after, or go for. She didn't. I mean, I didn't know that she was more closer than Jess than to everyone else. So I was just like, crap. So that was a hindrance to me. But if talking about Juan, I think we should have maybe went after Chad or went after Jess that first vote, because I knew for a fact Deb would listen to Andrew and listen to Juan because she gave her bead to Juan. So that's 4 versus 4, picking Deb. So Deb would have never been in danger that first vote. And if that other side still thought they had me and thought they was going to blindside me, we already talked with Deb. She definitely would have flipped and voted out Jess, because you see it, like she felt like she was a stronger competitor than Jess anyway, and at this point, I'm like, we just needed a number. But again, in the game, in the moment, you don't think like that. So you're just thinking like about survival. And
I think it would have been really hard to see that Chad, Jess, Aliana, and Allison were going to be that solid block that wasn't going to shake, right? Because that ends up, Deb gets voted out, then Kobe has nowhere to go. He can't pull people, so he gets voted out after that, and that leaves Andrew and Juan that have to have votes split upon them.
That's why they call it the boring 4. That's what everybody say. That's now I ain't say that, but I mean, you probably thinking it. You know what I'm saying? So like, literally, it's again, no shade to Allison or anyone in that alliance that made it deep, like Chad, but for Allison to not get Chad's vote at the end is just showed that our tribe was messy once they blindsided me. Like the blindside for Jay West fucked up everything. I think we should have just stayed.
I will say it was an amazing start to the game, because I could not believe that we had a 5-4 vote at the very first tribal council like that.
That's how I was wilding that night, bro. Y'all was tripping out, because I'm like, look, I should have just stayed asleep and let Kobe go. But that would have been bad for my game. If I seriously, like, if I let Kobe go and I still think I'm with Allison, I would have been next.
4-4. Hey, no one called us that.
Boo. Tomato. No, I love them. They all played great. They all end up shooting at each other, I heard during the jury. But you see who got the win. Rob, he played them all. He just pulled the Andrew card and stayed quiet. He was the victim, and he went deep. He won challenges, and he let everyone else from Anade, like that hated each other, end up using Rob as a number to go after their own. And he was always on the bottom of his own tribe. I was always like, everyone in the house, they kept saying, like, soon as Rob lose the individual immunity, just get his ass out of the game. Like, I want to meet him. Like, that's all I kept saying. Like, I want to talk to him. Like, but no, like, sure. Yeah.
I was saying, not the tomato.
Yeah. I mean, I know she's a great cook, so she probably can save the tomatoes.
So you have experience with one-day games. You've had experience with Sequester. You've had now this Reelfoot experience. I guess for you, what's been the biggest difference between one of your Sequester game experiences and your Reelfoot experience?
I ain't really learned shit, I guess, because like I'm still playing the same. But I think so to be honest, I look at the game a lot different. And that's why I love these games, because again, like I said to you in the beginning, if you can get to the end, it's all about your word. And I always say to my friends now in this world that no one want to sit next to me because how much of a dangerous player I am. You can think uh you can outtalk me all you want, but I always say, like, if you play a bold game, like public game, and you make it to the end, you're going to win every time because we're always scheming. All of us are scheming. We're all playing this game. So if you think you're going to sway people at the end, I mean, you could if you sit next to another person who was doing the same thing as you. But to see Rob win wasn't a surprise. And, it's because he was fighting for his life in this game. He's seen his alliances go back to back, and Allison, she had the numbers. She ran the game and she was in the best spot. But what happened? People, they see the underdog story and then they're gonna go with the public gameplay and give him the votes. And I've seen this story happen a lot. And not I guess my experience in these games are, I guess, if I ever play another LRG, Jay West be quiet, but that's not going to happen because I look at it like obviously I can be quiet and I can win and I want to get a win and I really do want to win, but the money isn't life changing. So play to have fun, and I'm gonna be a legend and just keep being remembered. But if I ever get casted for the real Survivor, because that's the dream, I know my mistakes. You know what I'm saying? I know when to be quiet now at this point. I know when to take my shots. So that's pretty much it. I burnt bridges early in the games that I wish I didn't do, that I still think about because I could have won those games. I'm like, damn, I had a strong tribe. I was with this good four. We went deep. And then the first chance I get, I went after the strongest dude on our tribe. He was like, Jay West, why did you do that? And I'm like, what you mean why? This is the game. This is Survivor. But at that point, we just kept going to tribal. And we kept surviving. I kept surviving because I was in a good spot. But at that point, it's like, we would have never went back to tribal if he'd have kept his big ass. You know what I'm saying? So these are things I always try to learn and implement in the next game. That's why I was like so scared to lose Kobe, because I'm like, look, if we can keep Kobe and Jay West together, this first vote, with Chad's brain and Aliana scheming, when Allison, like, we would have been good. We would have probably went like 3 in a row, and then they would have had to cut out Rob early, and then we can go after each other during the merge. But nobody wants to sit next to little Jay West, so that's fine.
Message from Taylor Gabby saying, she'll never forget the handlers messaging us tell us that Jay West was in so many alliances that he couldn't keep names straight.
No, look, Jay West, no, give us sticky notes, put our names on this shit. I'm like, we need sticky notes, because obviously that's never going to happen. We should never do that. But I think that's a funny idea, because I'm like, I'm calling Chad Chet. I'm calling Andrew Anthony. I'm calling Allison. I'm calling so many people the wrong things, and I still do love them, and I love them at that name. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, it's just like, it was all fun and games to me.
Is there anything about your experience that you want to talk about that maybe we haven't had a chance to get to at this point?
Yeah. So it was one time. So right before Andrew got voted out, we all had to do the challenge that Andrew got voted out for, like the puzzle, the block thing.
Yep.
I don't think you've seen it yet.
The table maze, the large table maze. Yeah.
That ended up being a challenge that Andrew got eliminated for, and we had a debate with one of the production members. He said, "Look, if you guys can complete both under 5 minutes 3 times a piece, he'll give us all $5 a piece." And we was all like, bet we gonna put our money together. We're gonna go get some soda. Obviously, we were happy about that. And we couldn't do it. And he was like, I'll give y'all a second chance, but time's going down and the money's going down. So we like, all right. So we had to negotiate. I'm pitching like $250, $275. So he said $2 a piece to everybody if you do one thing 3 times. And then we landed on that. We completed the puzzle maze, and we ended up going to Walmart. The Walmart trip is the trip I'm never going to forget. Every time I go to Walmart now to this day, I've been to Walmart twice just to buy the stupid shit that I know I'm never probably going. I got red hot dogs. We used to eat hot dogs on a stick. The funniest part in Walmart was when we went into the bathroom, all the guys, me, Trav, Andrew, Kobe, we taking our shirts off. We finally see ourselves in the mirror. We washing ourselves up in the sink, and an employee comes in there. He looking at us, and then mind you, he says, and we're talking about how cheap the cream pies are. So we're naked dudes in the bathroom talking about cream pies.
My
But like,
gosh.
it was just hilarious to me. And I know for a fact that all of us putting our money together, minus Nina, like she was more game savvy than all of us because she was like, "Look, I'm locked in. I'm not getting super tight." She spent her $2 on a can or 2 canned sodas, but we all got hot dogs and cheese and put it together. Got made it $12, and then I even panhandled to this like lady to see if I can get 10 cents, and she gave it to me. So my social game was still working despite being super dirty. So we was good.
So as we kind of wrap things up, I have a series of rapid fire questions for you. So the first question: do you prefer swaps or no swaps?
Swaps every time, baby. I'll take a swap.
So you had a rougher time maybe having a no swap season here.
Yeah, I had no swap season and I talked too much, so it was all Jay West's fault. But I feel like swaps is always better because uh, the dynamics is always going to flow, and once you get to the merge, you literally don't know anymore if your alliance that you were with in the beginning is still with you. So your own paranoia is going to go against you. That's what I think is better for the game. And then you might think like, damn, Steve, I thought you was with me. Like, we just got out. My dog name is Roger. We just got out Roger, like on the first vote. You know what I'm saying? How come we can't go after the next people? He's like, Jay, why you talking too damn much? You might be in good with the person that you get what I'm saying. So it's like, it's always better, in my opinion, to swap. But, sometimes we all get too game savvy and we think we can beat the game by knowing the twist. So it was better for this season.
Do you think every game should have a redemption component where players eliminated have a chance to get back in?
Every game, no. I think hear me out. I want to say no because I was thankful for this experience. But it's a lot of games now out here that are similar to, I guess, a bunch of games, a lot of different Survivor style games, and I say no because a lot of us played these games before, and it's a lot of so many X amount of winners. It's like I met Rob. I know a lot of players now, and they got so many winners under their belt. And in my head, I'm still better than them. But only reason they got these wins is because maybe the twist, maybe their tribe. It don't matter. But yeah, they beat me that game, and I ain't mad. But at the end of the day, it's probably because they're connections, and I ain't have those connections. So if we know up front that, like I was saying in the group chat earlier, like if we know that it was like a blood versus water, it's public knowledge that for a fact you're going in with somebody that you know. Or if it's a redemption season, for a fact you played before, you're going to know people that you played with before. It's going to be people to know. Then, hell no, should definitely never be a redemption. But I guess if for games like this, for players who really want it, like Reelfoot, I'm starting to hear about Outlast. I'm starting to hear about Survival Challenge, like these deeper games that you go deep and play. Like it's more real Survivor games. I feel like why not? Why not have a battle back? Because at the end of the day, like a player like Jay West, me myself, I'm always feel like I'm better than somebody in the game. I'm a confident player. I'm pretty social, and if I get voted out, I always say that's a hindrance to your game. You lost, right? But Chris Underwood won,
Mhm.
right? So like he got to do the right things, and the people who are on the outcast camp don't get a vote. So I still got to play the game all over again, and it's harder, but that's a challenge I'm willing to take every time.
What was your favorite challenge?
I think my favorite challenge was the prison break challenge. It was so fun. I really wish that I was. Oh well, if I'm being honest, I wish Trav was on the fire first and then me. But it was just so much fun seeing my old camp. I was just busting their balls. I told Andrew he getting skinnier because like they're trying not feeding him. You better throw it to us. Uh, Aliana, I'm like, yo, Aliana, yo, we went to go see a movie last night. She like, what movie did you see? I'm like, these nuts. Like, I ain't telling you nothing. And I'm telling Chad like, oh, we got playing cards. We got playing cards because him and Kobe, they kept saying when I was at camp, man, if we win a reward, I would ask for playing cards, or I would ask for air mattress. But them two, they were so adamant about the playing cards, and I'm like, you want to come over to the Outcast camp? We got some playing cards. So I'm like talking trash, but like they all knew me. They all knew my mind. I was even saying that like at the camp, like uh Chad, me and Chad talked about this. He was like, I asked Chad, like, how do you feel about players that talk trash? He said he'll talk trash, but they have to start it. So he knew I was busting balls. I had to throw the heart up to Allison because she probably thought I was serious. Aliana, she probably thought I was serious. I had to keep giving them the heart. Like, I'm joking, guys. Like, I don't need my orange tribe to hate me. This is how I am as a person. Y'all gonna try to vote me out again anyway. I'm gonna still have to need y'all if I get back in the game anyway. So I just wanna be myself in the wild, be Wild West, be happy, be fun, take the game less serious. That way, if I do lose, I can always point the finger at myself.
What was one of your favorite moments back at camp?
At not a camp,
Or any camp you were in?
I must say my favorite moment at the starting camp, I guess, was building the camp. I don't know. I never built nothing like this. It was just for us coming together, and we had an opportunity. Well, we didn't have the opportunity. The other tribe had an opportunity to swap with us, and I think we almost swayed them because Kobe was telling us how much of a better camp that they had. But I just think that playing cards is something that I do on a regular basis. So I taught a lot of players in the cast or in the game, a card game that I gave the title of Jay West. And I'm like, if you can beat me 3 times and without me losing, without me winning, you can change the name. But it's a twist. Every time a new person gets in the game, I don't care if you win, this count starts over. So they used to get mad. And even if you close to you get 2 wins, I'll quit before the third game. So you'll never get the opportunity to change the name. But it's a fun game. I like to play it with a bunch of people. Uh, so that's not really a great memory for me. I guess it's a great memory for everyone else. I'm glad that they still rate me to this day. A lot of them still text me like, can you send me the rules again? I'm like, oh shit, that's dope. Like, so you're gonna remember Jay West, the name forever. I'm thankful about that. And I guess this is my first time sleeping outside, hearing coyotes running around. You know, I killed a spider with a brick. It was crazy out there. So I was just thankful that I did it. I know for a fact I can do it. I miss it, to be honest. So it's like I really wish I was got covered in blood though. I really wish I was at so much like laughing in the confessionals.
Who would you have shared the jar of candy with?
Again, I don't eat candy, but if I did unlock that block and I did share a jar of candy with people, I would have shared it with I would have did the show of hands thing because again, that first vote was hard for all of us because we all was vibing. And I think that's the beauty of the game. You don't know it until you play it. We always say like it's so predictable that first vote, but a lot of people don't want to go. And so I would have just like show of hands, first four, and then I would have just gave it to the first four. But if I'm being like not trying to be political or whatever, just show I would have gave it to Chad to keep him strong. We need his mind and everything. I would have gave it to Kobe because he probably would have been the one that helped me unlock the shit. Allison because I did like her and Andrew because that was the other person. But yeah, that would have been the four plus myself because he had to include himself.
Who do you wish you had a chance to work with but didn't have an opportunity to do so that game?
Well, on both tribes, I'm gonna start with my tribe, original tribe. I'm gonna say I wish I had a better chance to strategize with Jess. Me and her, we both are similar. The more I talk with her, the more like we're both like jokey. We play around all the time, and I think she's like a hothead too. Just like watching some of the tribes back, like she like I don't know, like if you know you're in danger, you're gonna speak up. Well, some people don't, and I think you can dodge line of fire by not speaking up. But she did it, speak up a lot, and sometimes I think that's bad. But I do the same thing. I speak up. So I wish I would have just had an opportunity. Like we were in the same alliance, but she kind of blew up my game by telling me everyone I was talking. And I think she did a good job because I don't think it was good for her game. I think because I would have been loyal to her and Allison. If Allison would have told me straight up, like Jay West, I know Jess, let's just stay loyal to this five, and I was like, bet. that's a 3 we can stay with. And I would have stayed loyal to those 3 because I'm a pretty loyal player until you can't be loyal. You know what I'm saying? Oh, but for the purple tribe, my fault. I would have just played with Sam.
Yes,
Yeah, I would
important.
play with
The purple
Sam.
tribe.
I miss
Sam.
Sam. I owe her a couple votes, so I'll even let her probably take a shot at me once. But I'd have like, yeah, because I got her out her very first game, and she always bring that up to me every time I see her, and she always like, I'm so much of a better game player now, Jay West. I want to play with you. And we finally had the opportunity to cross paths in the game, but we didn't. I was out first, so yeah, I would have loved to play with Sam.
Who do you think should come back for another season of Reelfoot? Who do you think needs a second chance?
Need a second chance? Jordan West needs a second chance. Me. But no, all jokes aside, if it's not me, I think our cast is pretty stacked. But I'm gonna give it to the fallen angel Chad. I think he played a great game. Everyone said he could have won if he got there. They said he would have got all the votes, and I see it too. So why not give him a second chance? I think he so great to play with. He's so easy to talk to. Like, I didn't even know when to shoot at him. I knew how much of a good player he was, and I didn't even know when to go after him. But like again, just talking woulda, coulda, shoulda. Maybe he should have been the first vote, him or Jess.
That's kind of it for all the questions I have. Jay West, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with this morning, or my morning, your afternoon. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for this LRG page, this LRG world that's included me into play. I'm an urban kid straight from the city of Lindenwold, but like I always say, there's so many gamers out here in this world, and if you can get to the end and plead your case and connect with people, you know, I can maybe get the votes. So don't sit next to me or sit next to me and test my luck. So
feels like you're telling people you need to vote me out because I'm gonna beat you at the end. But hey,
I think you're better or else. And I think that's a pitch for everybody though. You know, I think you're probably pretty confident because I heard you when you was talking with Nina, how you brought up how you got her out a couple times. So if you ever play with Nina again, are you going to trust her?
Yeah, I mean, it was the first boot, much like you said. Like it was a game where we were the tribal council within the first 3 hours, and like you just run with anything. And it's one of those things like, you know, had it been more real fun, I had like a good 36, 40 hours. I don't think Nina would have been that first, but I think things could have been very different. But just like everyone's on edge that first boot, and like it's always interesting to see how it breaks.
Yeah, and Nina's a good player, and I'm not taking nothing against your game because I never seen you play. And how'd you do when you played with Kobe? Are you going to trust? I heard you shading him. You said he was pretty aggressive the first time you played.
Kobe, I got voted out pre-merge. Kobe made it merge, but I got back in redemptions. I think Kobe played better than me that season. But like for me, it was like it was interesting interacting with Kobe because Kobe was so focused, my recollection, on finding that idol in that initial try. I was like, well, he doesn't want to talk to me. He's looking for the idol.
Yeah. And again, like you said, you kind of like sound like me. You said he's better than me that season. And again, everyone feels like you should always bank on yourself, right? So I don't know.
Well, I look back in games and I say, like, you know, there's games I've done better, and there's games I don't think I played that well. And like, or I did something really stupid and went home for it. I was like, well, that was maybe deserved. So like, you know, it's a range, and like, not all of us can be Rob and be and have 100% success rate. What can I say?
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you for having me, man. I'm so honored to do my little deep dive now. I can just be Wild West in the real world.
Hey, no, Jay West, I really appreciate it. Thank you, Evan, for tuning in and listening. This has been another Reelfoot deep dive episode. Don't worry, there are more to come. I think I'll be talking at the very latest. I'll be talking to Rob, the winner, next Monday. So get excited.
Hey.
All right. Hey, take care, Jay West. Have a good rest of your day. Take care, everyone.